Introduction to the passionate years starting from the college entrance examination. Reborn into the passionate and popular era, Chen Guohua is very anxious. My adoptive father passed away in a mining accident, and there are 3 younger sisters at home. My second uncle and his family want to compete for inheritance, while my neighbors are watching jokes. He wants to live his life well and strive for breath. The first breath of competition is to take the college entrance examination and become a college student. Chapter 1, Embarrassment. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. The 2 most important things in a person's life are 3 meals a day. Chen Guohua couldn't help but sigh as he looked at the dilapidated yet clean house in front of him. In this era of scarcity of food and clothing, I want to solve the problem of 3 meals. Even if he is a traveler, it is extremely difficult. That's right, just half an hour ago, Chen Guohua traveled to 1958. Just now, 2 memories of different life trajectories were presented in the form of fast-forward movies. One is the black and white world of war, poverty, and hunger, while the other is the colorful world of peace, prosperity, and modernity. After focusing on the eyes, the black and white 1950s turned into color, but phones, computers, external accessories, and most importantly, 30 terabytes of portable hard drives were gone. By inheriting the memory of his original body, Chen Guohua knew that the original owner of the body had the same name and surname as him. But the original person was born on January 3, 1941, and happened to be 17 years old this year. With a body length of 180 and a weight of 120, being young is young enough, but being weak is also true. The original body was also quite miserable because it was picked up by his adoptive parents. Including Chen Guohua, there are a total of 5 people in the family. My foster mother passed away in 1953 when she gave birth to Chen Xiaoman due to difficult childbirth. So this family is a family of 5 consisting of 3 younger sisters, Chen Xiaoya, Chen Xiaomei, and Chen Xiaoman, as well as Chen Guohua and his adopted son. It is said that blessings come in pairs, and misfortune never comes alone. Just 5 days ago, Lao Chen had an accident at the Mentugu coal mine. People disappear on the spot. Nowadays, there are only Chen Guohua and 3 younger sisters left in the old Chen family. According to the customs in the north, the first 7 are handled by the son, including burning paper money, burning incense, and preparing livestock dishes for the funeral. But now there are no chickens, ducks or other livestock at home, and there is only 1,250 yuan left in savings. In theory, Lao Chen is a coal miner with a monthly salary of 28 yuan. I have also worked for several years, and it is impossible to have only a deposit of 12.5 yuan. Because most of the money was saved by old Chen. Usually, money is not needed at home, only when guests come or when they go to the city. So it was all Mr. Chen who personally took care of the money. In the days after old Chen left, Chen Guohua and his 3 sisters wanted to find the money. Confirmed not found through the original owner's memory. At present, we can only live on 12 and 50 cents. Outside the window, the sky is still gloomy. The big rooster of the neighbor next door has started crowing, indicating that dawn is approaching. Pushing open the door, Chen Guohua arrived at the thatched cottage kitchen and prepared to make breakfast. Just a few days after New Year's Day, the weather in the suburbs of Beijing is very cold. The second one, Chen Xiaoya, is already busy, and the third one is also helping. Only the youngest one sits and plays with himself. Big brother, please wait a moment, it will be fine soon. Seeing Chen Guohua enter the kitchen, the second person spoke up. She didn't notice anything different about her older brother today. In the past, Chen Xiaoya was responsible for household chores such as washing clothes and cooking. Born in 1945, she is 13 years old this year, but she has already taken care of her family in an orderly manner like a young adult. Chen Guohua didn't know what to say and awkwardly paused. Then he leaned over to help set the fire, trying to behave as usual. The 3 sisters were all silent, and breakfast was quickly prepared. The cornmeal congee with thin soup and little water is almost dry fried hot and sour cabbage and hot and sour radish. In addition, it's gone. Almost no oil or water is visible. This is a breakfast for an ordinary suburban family. I miss my dad, woo-woo. Not yet ready to eat, Chen Xiaoman, who was only 5 years old, squinted her mouth and couldn't help but cry. The second and third couldn't help but feel very sad. Alright, be good, don't cry, eat. Chen Guohua is the elder brother, and he still has great authority. In a dull atmosphere, breakfast ended. Just as Chen Xiaoye was carrying dishes to wash dishes, Uncle Chen Jiazhen came knocking on the door. Guohua, Xiaoye, have you eaten yet? Second uncle. The three little guys shouted Uncle Air in unison. Seeing the three little ones with red eyes, Chen Jiazhen couldn't help but say. Xiaoye, are you crying again? No, Guohua, how did you become this big brother? Can't you take care of your younger sister? Chen Guohua remained silent, quietly watching his second uncle's performance. This second uncle has very different opinions about him. Most likely, it was because his older brother picked up Chen Guohua, the adopted son, that he became extinct. From Chen Xiaoye to Chen Xiaoman, his elder brother gave birth to 3 losers, none of whom brought a handle. Otherwise, Chen Guohua wouldn't have been able to continue his studies until high school. Because 5 or 3 years later, Chen Guohua will be the only child in Big Brother's family. Seeing Chen Guohua silent, Chen Jiazhen suddenly coughed and said. It's like this, Xiaoye. You're the eldest sister in the family. Now my elder brother has left, but his work is still. Old Chen passed away due to the collapse of the mining tunnel. In addition to losing money, the Mentugu mine will also retain his job. In this era, work is generally carried on from son to father. However, Chen Guohua and his 4 siblings are all minors. So this job is likely to be temporarily sealed off until Chen Guohua reaches adulthood before he can inherit it. However, it is often said that people are indifferent to tea. Who can guarantee that Chen Guohua will be able to regain this job after reaching adulthood? Chen Jiazhen's intention is to give this job to his son Chen Guobing first. The latter is already 19 years old this year. It was a child born to Chen Jiazhen at the age of 15, who had a lifelong engagement with Lu Zuixiang from a neighboring village. At that time, because of this, there was a big uproar, and several nearby villages knew about it. Xiaoye, don't worry, I will definitely transfer this job to your older brother in a year. Chen Guobing at the door said with a silly smile. Zhaozuiyuan.com Lu Zuixiang also accompanied the smiling face and said a few good words. Uncle Air and his family of 3 all treated Chen Guohua like air. Chen Xiaoye looked pitifully at Chen Guohua, feeling lost. The latter sighed and shook his head, saying. Uncle Air, who told you that minors cannot participate in formal work? Which unit would require minors? Chen Jiazhen asked in response. Uncle Air, I don't blame you for not being able to read, Chen Guohua continued calmly. In 1951, our country promulgated the labor law, which stipulated in Article 15 that employers are prohibited from recruiting minors under the age of 16. That is to say, as long as you reach the age of 16, you can officially start working. I am already 17 years old this year, just over 16 years old, and can start working as a formal coal miner. Uncle Air's family suddenly fell silent. Who doesn't know in the room that Chen Guohua is a high school student? Not to mention the village of Majiafen, even the entire production team has only a few high school students. At this moment, Chen Xiaoye suddenly had red eyes and said. But big brother, are you not going to school anymore? The suddenly cheerful couple Chen Jiazhen and Lu Zuixiang were pleasantly surprised. Yeah. As a high school student, how could Chen Guohua be willing to become a coal miner? And it can't be done either, after all, mining is not that simple. P.S. Newcomers and new books, the pink and cute new ones require the collection, monthly tickets, recommendations, and investment of all readers, with just one click and 4 links. P.S. Conduct a survey, through what channels did everyone see the book machine? Chapter 2, 2 Uncles and 1 Family. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chen Xiaomei and Chen Xiaomin also eagerly looked at their big brother. They don't understand whether high school is better or work is better. Just simply wanting to rely on their big brothers. Because this family only has their 4 siblings. Yes, I still have to go to school, so I plan to apply for sealing this job. Chen Guohua nodded and said. When Xiaoye reaches your age, I can apply to the mine to lift the lockdown. These days, job opportunities are rare. 1 carrot, 1 pit. Like Lao Chen's job, it was still due to the first 5-year plan that Ma Jiafan's production team transformed from an ordinary farmer to a vegetable farmer. That is to say, the production team where Ma's tomb is located does not need to plant other crops. Just plant vegetables and supply them to the capital. During the first 5-year plan period, the industrial development in Beijing was rapid, and a large number of workers were urgently needed. But at that time, 99% of the country was farmers. Recruiting workers can only select young people from the ranks of farmers. And production teams like vegetable farmers have priority. It was against this background that old Chen successfully joined Mentugu coal mine in May or April, becoming a proud first-class worker. At this point in time, the first 5-year plan has been completed. During the period of the first 5-year plan, there were no more opportunities to recruit a large number of workers. Of course, if it is a vocational school student, a high school student, or a college student, it is an exception. 13-year-old Chen Xiaoye is a scumbag and a high school graduate. When old Chen was still around, she just took care of her 2 younger sisters at home. But now, it's possible that she will have to work as a vegetable farmer to earn a living and support Chen Guohua and her 2 younger sisters. High school students in the 1950s did not receive state subsidies. Only vocational school students and college students will receive national subsidies. Chen Guohua not only has no subsidy, but also needs a monthly living allowance of 12 yuan from his family. Old Chen's preference for men over women can also be seen from this. However, old Chen raised Chen Guohua as his own son, but Uncle Chen Jiazhen didn't think so. Guohua, this is not right for you. Upon hearing that Chen Guohua was going to seal up his work, Chen Jiazhen became anxious. Xiaoye is only 13 years old. When she turns 16, there will be more than 3 years left. Besides, mining is not suitable for a girl like Xiaoye. It won't be easy to find a matchmaker for her then. Why don't you temporarily give this job to your cousin, Xiaoye? Chen Xiaoye looked helplessly at her older brother because she didn't know what to do either. Before Chen Guohua could speak, his cousin Chen Guobing preemptively said. Don't worry, Xiaoye. After I take over your work, I will give you 5 yuan every month as compensation. In that case, you will also have income in the next 3 years, which is better than sealing up your job, right? There is also a saying that coal miners learn to work as apprentices. The monthly salary for an apprentice is 14 yuan, but unlike other types of work, a coal mine apprentice only has 1 year. This means that Chen Guobing's salary in the first year of employment is 14 yuan, and from the second year onwards it is 28 yuan. However, Chen Guohua said. Second uncle, cousin, I have a question for you. Have you ever cared about our 4 siblings over the years? Before Chen Jiazhen and Chen Guobing could answer, he immediately said. Let me help you recall memories. Second uncle, do you still remember how you scolded Xiaomin when my mother left? You're a loser, not a girl with a handle. I remember cursing for several years. In the past 2 years or so, I have been living on campus and haven't heard it. That's it, girls are just losers. Chen Guobing spoke frankly, and Chen Xiaoye and the others immediately glared angrily at him. Chen Guohua, on the other hand, reached out and pulled the 3 little ones behind him, staring coldly at Uncle Air and Big Brother. Uncle Air, I am a high school student. If you want to be polite, I won't use vulgar language. Before, you used to scold Xiaoya and the others, but just now you ignored me. He, don't you think our 4 siblings are easy to bully? Now that my father has left, Uncle Heir, you have set your sights on our family's work again. He, this calculation is really impressive. If I were to go find the production team to lead a fair game, would you dare to say so much, brother de Tang? So you guys should go back. I firmly disagree with giving up this job. If he agrees, it will be extremely difficult for Chen Guohua to return his job in the future. Besides, the human heart is not strong enough for snakes to swallow elephants. Perhaps at the beginning, Chen Guohua would be happy to give Chen Xiaoya 5 yuan per month. But over time, Chen Guohua will definitely feel resentful. Why is it that he works so hard every day to earn such a little money, while Chen Xiaoya can earn 5 yuan a month sitting at home? Chen Jiazhen and his son couldn't help but want to expose themselves. Stopped by Lu Zuixiang. Chen Guohua, you should know that you are my older brother's adopted son, not my own son. My older brother's job will be reserved for Xiaoya and the 3 of them in the future, not for you. Before Lu Zuixiang could continue speaking, Chen Guohua interrupted. Lu Zuixiang, are you openly questioning the credibility of the production team? When I was adopted by my father, the entire production team was clear. Now you're saying I'm not my father's son, what's wrong? Are you going to challenge the authority of the production team? Are you the only smart person in the entire production team? You don't want any face for our family's work, do you? Lu Zuixiang's face turned pale, and her sharp voice was particularly piercing. Wild boy, how dare you call me by my name? Chen Guohua's gaze was cold and he shouted loudly. Say it again. I respect you as elders, but you have lived for a long time. Don't always live on dogs. Spicy Lu Zuixiang retorted sharply, who are you calling a dog? You. What are you shouting at? Do you like to sit in the same seat? A rebuttal not only interrupted Lu Zuixiang's subsequent words, but also left her speechless. Because my brain can't even turn around. Next is Chen Guohua's performance time. Before, when you scolded me for not fighting back, it was because my dad was still there. Now you have the ability to scold again. See how I can treat you. You still scold me as a wild kid, who gave you the courage? Uncle Heir and his family of 3 were all frightened by Chen Guohua's gaze. In his previous life, as a middle-aged social animal, Chen Guohua had always been kind to people and was a mild-tempered person, rarely being impatient with others. But whether to say it or not, the 3 words, wild boy, instantly ignited him. I feel like when I encounter a particularly frustrating plot while watching TV, my mind immediately reacts. Trick my 3 younger sisters into giving work to your family. Don't say I'm at home, even if I'm not at home, you can't do it, just roll the calf for me. At this point, I have already torn my face. Okay, Chen Guohua, let me tell you, being such an excellent person, there are good fruits to eat. Lu Zuixiang was about to explode with anger, and both Chen Jiazhen and Chen Guohua, father and son, were equally angry. Okay, I'll treat your whole family to eat together then. Chen Guohua's retort made Lu Zuixiang's chest fluctuate, and her whole body was like a balloon that had inflated to the extreme, almost about to explode. Behind her, Chen Xiaoya's 3 sisters couldn't help laughing. Quickly, Chen Xiaoya became worried again and grabbed her big brother's hem, whispering. Big brother, is it really okay? Back to give the little guy a big smile, Chen Guohua said it was okay. The 3 sisters felt a little relieved. At this moment, the 3 of Chen Jiazhen had no face to stay any longer. He glared at Chen Guohua with hatred several times and left unwillingly. After they left, Chen Guohua said. Don't worry about Uncle Heir's family, we definitely can't give them work. I don't need to deal with work matters urgently now. Let's first find the money hidden by my father. Upon hearing this, San Xiaoyan nodded earnestly at the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com, but then sighed again. Starting from the third day after old Chen left, after Chen Guohua returned from the capital, the four siblings searched together for several days but still couldn't find him. The four siblings all know that old Chen has saved the money. No one knows where to put it, and now they don't know how to find it. Chen Guohua sat in old Chen's bedroom, looking thoughtful. He is retrieving the original owner's memory, hoping to find clues through it. Through recollection, he found that his brain was running very fast, precise, and detailed. Just like a biological hard drive, it can retrieve all the memories of his previous life and the original owner at any time. Not only that, but also with a lot of knowledge, entertainment, history, etc., it seems that they are all impressive. It seems that his brain is like a supercomputer storing massive amounts of data. Is this a golden finger? Chen Guohua thought silently, having already guessed in his heart where old Chen had probably stored his money. That's the brick lining the bedroom wardrobe, in the mud pit below. In my memory, there were several times when old Chen would close the bedroom door after receiving his salary. Several times, the original owner heard the sound of heavy objects falling down. It must be the sound of debris falling from the top of the wardrobe. Xiaoye, Xiaomei, take your hand and lift this wardrobe away. With Chen Guohua's voice, the three siblings moved the wardrobe together. Then Chen Guohua took away the blue brick, and the flat but soft broken soil on it verified his hypothesis. After scooping away the broken soil, soon a small iron box was seen. The three little ones all cheered and gathered around. Yeah, finally found it. Big brother, open it and see how much money there is. Chapter 3, Fiscal Power. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Guohua couldn't help but smile. These three sisters are really innocent and lovely. Discard the newspaper wrapped outside the iron box. You can see rust stains on the small iron box, but it has been scraped clean. From the surface pattern of the small iron box, it can be seen that this thing should be a material box from the liberation period. There are 4 big characters above. Labor is glorious. After opening the iron box, you can see many large black 10-class banknotes neatly stacked and lying inside the box. Wow, a lot of money. Chen Xiaoye's 3 younger sisters suddenly exclaimed in surprise, their eyes full of bright light. Xiaoye, how much do you count? Seeing them so excited, Chen Guohua smiled gently and handed them the box directly. San Xiaojiu quickly declined, indicating that big brother would come to count. No, you can count it. Shaking his head, Chen Guohua whispered. Xiaoye, you are the eldest sister in the family, and you will be taking care of your 2 younger sisters in the future. Although I am the eldest brother, I often live at school. If there is anything urgent, I may not be able to help you. So, from now on, you have to take on the responsibility of being a big sister, have you heard? After these words, Chen Xiaoye suddenly felt pressure. The immature face is full of seriousness and maturity, forming a strong contrast. After some sorting, it was finally determined how much money was inside the iron box. The total is 237 yuan, and there are no receipts or anything like that. Just these cash. But Chen Guohua's 4 siblings are already very satisfied. The 4 siblings counted several times in a row before finally confirming the amount. After satisfying her addiction, Chen Xiaoye suddenly put all her money into an iron box. Then solemnly handed the iron box to her elder brother. Big brother, I'll leave this iron box to you for safekeeping in the future. She is very reluctant to hand over the financial power. But also very self-aware. The 3 sisters kept their eyes fixed on the iron box. Chen Guohua pushed the iron box back and whispered. No, these money still needs to be entrusted to Xiaoye for your safekeeping. Don't refuse, the day after tomorrow is my father's 7th birthday. After the memorial service, I have to go back to school to take the exam. It's inconvenient to carry so much money. Who will be responsible if I lose it then? You three sisters are at home, just as before. In the past, Chen Guohua went to school, while old Chen went to the mine. There were only 3 children at home, Chen Xiaoye and others. Apart from the inconvenience of carrying so much money, the reason why he doesn't want to take charge is to give the 3 little ones a sense of security. As long as the money is still at home, they don't worry about Chen Guohua leaving them. Because going to school requires money. On the contrary, Chen Guohua left the Ma family tomb with money, and San Shao was not afraid that he would pay for it. Perhaps San Shao wouldn't think that way, but they definitely don't have a sense of security in their hearts. Finally, even Chen Guohua had only recently traveled here. I haven't figured out my own golden finger yet, so I don't want to take on so much work for now. Okay, big brother, I will definitely take good care of this money. Chen Xiaoye, who was convinced, was not happy because she was in charge of so much money. On the contrary, she has a serious face. Well, we all trust you. At this time, Chen Guohua gave this sister enough trust and comfort. Human growth is often a fleeting moment. The family's misfortune has indeed made Chen Xiaoye grow a lot. The matter of fiscal power has come to an end like this. The day after tomorrow is the 7th day of the lunar calendar, and we need to pay homage to old Chen. We need to purchase livestock. Now that I have money, I have some confidence. Chen Guohua went to the supply and marketing agency at the village entrance to book roosters and pork. The 3 younger sisters naturally followed along. In the 1950s, supply and marketing cooperatives did not sell much, but had a wide variety of products. Matches, salt, soy sauce, snacks, mountain goods, and so on. However, lipstick, watches, clothes and other high-end and expensive things will not be seen. Oh, intellectuals are here. At the entrance of the supply and marketing cooperative, Qian Dongsheng, who is in his 40s, looks like he is 70 years old. His old face is like a high slope of loess, with crisscrossing gullies. As the only high school student in Ma Jiafen, Chen Guohua is always referred to as an intellectual. Even some people directly refer to him as Wenkuxing. Without him, illiteracy is too common in this era. Even though we have been working on literacy in the past few years, there have been loopholes in the 9-year compulsory education, let alone literacy education. Uncle Qian, it's like this. My father is on the 7th day after tomorrow and needs to book a rooster and 2 pounds of pork as tribute. Could you please help someone bring it back? Chen Guohua said politely. 5 or 7 years later, everyone had their tails cut off, and each household could only raise 2 chickens, which had requirements for both males and females. Old Chen's family originally raised 2 chickens, but after Old Chen had an accident, they had already run out of them. The first 7 is also very important, as it is a tradition of worshipping the deceased, and naturally cannot be without tribute. A few days ago, Chen Guohua and his 4 siblings were all very sad, and they had to look for those savings, which is why they have been dragging on until now. And the supply and marketing cooperatives here are not like in the city. Roosters and pork are always available for selection. Besides, now the implementation of unified purchase and sales has been implemented. Even if you make a reservation, you still need to obtain a ticket to purchase. Qian Dongsheng took the money and ticket and sighed. Ah, looking for a book garden www.zhaosyuan.com. Old Chen left too suddenly. After chatting a few words, Qian Dongsheng finally said. Then you can come over tomorrow afternoon. The delivery man should have delivered the rooster and pork by then. Okay, thank you, Uncle Qian. Chen Guohua remained polite and suddenly pointed to the empty fishing net next to him, saying. Uncle Qian, are you still collecting fish at this time? There are 2 rivers near Majiafen, namely Dashi River and Yongding River, as well as Qinglong Lake. The middle-aged boys and young people nearby would go to the river to catch fish and shrimp during their leisure time. If the harvest is good, it will be sold by the supply and marketing cooperative. After the supply and marketing cooperative receives it, delivery personnel will come regularly to bring fish, medicinal herbs, and mountain goods back to the city. In previous years, as a bookworm, Chen Guohua did not actually enjoy activities such as fishing. Moreover, Lao Chen's monthly salary of 28 yuan is enough for his family's food and clothing needs. But now that old Chen has left, Chen Guohua naturally needs to find a way to open source. Harvest, but where are we catching fish during this season? Qian Dongxing smiled and looked up and down at Chen Guohua. You don't really want to go fishing, do you? It's so cold outside, don't freeze your body, and the ice layer on the river is not as thick as this cup. How are you fishing? The cup in his hand is about 20 centimeters long. Okay, thank you, Uncle Qian. I got it. Chen Guohua smiled and thanked the other party, then turned around and left the supply and marketing cooperative with the three little ones. On the way back, Chen Xiaoya and her companions chattered about how to catch fish. They are quite involved in this matter. Chapter 4, Catching Fish. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The weather this afternoon was not very good, with light snow floating in the sky. The temperature is very low, around -14 to 15 degrees Celsius. Chen Xiaoya, three little brats, was bouncing and running ahead. Laughter and joy spread all around. Their elder brother carried a hoe and a dustpan, walking at the front. Arriving at the Yongding River, Chen Guohua commanded his three sisters to pick up firewood. He brought stones and prepared to roast on the river. Will the river melt? Let's not consider it for now. Setting up a stove that is over 20 centimeters high and baking in this way will ultimately be safer. Otherwise it would be too cold. Big brother, can we really catch fish? By the river, Chen Xiaoye was ignorant and curious, with expectations in her eyes. Her thin body, dressed in thick clothes. But it was still so cold that I stomped my feet. The outfit Chen Xiaoye is wearing. It was the work clothes that Lao Chen brought back from the mining area during the previous winter that were renovated. Well, you can definitely catch fish. Chen Guohua, who also felt very cold, stomped his feet and said stiffly. Winter fishing is definitely a very challenging outdoor activity for people. He searched around the Yongding River before choosing a location. Then swing the hoe and start working. In winter, the Yongding River was as good as Qian Laotu's score, with an ice thickness of about 20 centimeters. Chen Guohua, who weighs only 120 pounds, has considerable strength. The third sisters of Chen Xiaoya on the side came to help dig a hole after lighting the fire. It took almost half an hour, and Chen Guohua was almost freezing stiff. I finally chiseled through a hole. The splashing water quickly filled the hole. Chen Guohua did not stop, but continued to remove the broken ice from the cave entrance. He doesn't know if he can catch winter fishing. Due to the lack of fishing nets and the inability to find bait for fishing. So, Chen Guohua can only fish by drilling holes, such a foolish method. After cleaning the hole, he went several tens of meters away and continued to dig the hole. Xiaoya, go and guard the entrance just now. If it's about to freeze, just let me know. Okay, big brother. The three sisters nodded together, stamping their feet and breathing in their hands. Although they don't know if the big brother can catch the fish by doing this. But they are very obedient. For the next half day, Chen Guohua continued to drill holes. Meanwhile, clean up the broken ice from the previous openings. Keep the entrance of the cave in a non-freezing state. But I haven't seen any fish come out to breathe oxygen. There is only one truth, which is the hole he chiseled, and there are no fish below. Since there are no fish, we can only continue drilling holes. Just as Chen Guohua was drilling the fifth hole and clearing the broken ice. A large black fish weighing about 1.5 pounds. One bite hit the hoe. Chen Guohua was quick-witted and treated the big black fish as crushed ice. Quickly pulled it onto the ice surface. Wow, there's fish, big brother, fish. Chen Xiaoman, who saw this scene, jumped excitedly. It's been 2 or 3 hours now, and she's almost giving up. Unexpectedly, there are really fish. Chen Xiaoye quickly ran over and loaded the big black fish into the dustpan. Well, there's fish. On the ice, the big black fish bounced around, and Chen Guohua also smiled. Soon, the big black fish became ice cubes and remained motionless. The temperature of -11 or 12 degrees Celsius, even the big black fish can't bear it. Chen Guohua continued to clean up the broken ice at the entrance of the cave. More than half an hour has passed. Just now at the entrance, a carp weighing 7 or 8 taels came again. Arriving at the entrance of the cave, Chen Guohua directly reached for it with his hands. Although his hands were frozen with icy water, he doubted his life. But he still endured the pain and quickly rescued the carp like lightning. In order to take a bite, Chen Guohua had to fish with his bare hands. Living is really not easy. Subsequently, several small miscellaneous fish were brought up one after another. Are you all starving? Let's have grilled fish tonight. After working hard for most of the afternoon, Chen Guohua finally managed to get less than 3 pounds of fish. He was already very hungry. Upon hearing him say this, just as Chen Xiaoye was about to persuade her, the 2 little ones Chen Xiaoman had already shouted out happily. Yeah, let's eat grilled fish. The way the 2 sisters shout loudly is really cute. Chen Guohua smiled for a moment, then went to remove the broken ice from the other holes, and then picked up 2 fish and opened their stomachs. High-end ingredients often only require the simplest cooking methods. The cleaned big black fish and carp were strung together with bamboo skewers. The blazing flames brought warmth to Chen Guohua and his 2 siblings. Big brother, it smells so good. Chen Xiaoman by the campfire, the saliva is almost flowing out. The last time I ate meat was still the last time, I was already starving. Fish, although not very oily, is also meat. Well, it's almost there. Chen Guohua nodded and handed the big black fish to his 3 sisters. This doesn't have that many thorns, but you guys should eat slowly, do you hear me? Big brother, you eat big fish, I want to eat small fish. The 3 sisters stared at the big black fish, swallowed their saliva, but still held back. The big black fish is delicious, but this is the fish that their big brother worked hard to catch. They are all sensible children, so the big black fish should be left for the big brother. Upon hearing these words, Chen Guohua smiled and finally didn't hurt them in vain. Eat it. The 4 siblings gave way to each other for a while, and finally Chen Guohua pulled down his face. 3 little ones then took the big black fish and started nibbling on it. Big brother, this fish is really delicious. How delicious can grilled fish with only salt added as a seasoning be? But for the starving siblings, this is a delicacy on earth. For Chen Guohua and his 4 siblings, there is not much fish weighing less than 3 pounds. Excluding internal organs, fish scales, and bones, the average weight per person is less than half a pound. Even so, the 4 siblings ate very happily and contentedly. I just thought about catching fish to sell, but now it seems that this method is not practical. But this is a faster way to bring the 3 little ones out of the gloom of sadness. Zhaozuiyuan.com. The night of winter darkens relatively quickly. After finishing the grilled fish, the 4 siblings checked the holes that had been chiseled through again. But there are still no fish, so we can only clean up the broken ice and come back tomorrow to see it. After returning home, Chen Guohua lit a kerosene lamp and read for a while. I just realized that my memory has improved a lot. It's a bit like being unforgettable, you can remember about 50.6% of the content after just looking at it. If you read it about 3 times, you can completely memorize it. Besides reading books, one can also quickly memorize the knowledge of the biological hard drive in their mind. So he turned off the kerosene lamp and lay directly in bed to study. He found that this so-called biological hard drive is really amazing. It contains all kinds of knowledge, such as the complete process of designing and manufacturing atomic bombs, which is very detailed and can be seen clearly. There are records of detailed manufacturing materials, ratios, and time for the production line of atomic bomb-related equipment. It's simply amazing. He was just an ordinary computer college student in his previous life. After graduation, I became a farmer and became a mortgage slave, and then got married. Continuing to have children, being laid off, and then crossing over. Although in college, I could still be considered a top student. But he doesn't understand so much either. Nowadays, this biological hard drive can actually be searched to know all the manufacturing and research and development processes of electronic tube computers. Even the entire process of computing in different eras, such as transistors, integrated circuits, microprocessors, quantum computing, etc. This should be the spark plan from the Wandering Earth movie, right? It's unbelievable. Chapter 5, Chen 2. Mazi steals fish. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The jade rabbit falls in the west, the golden crow rises in the east, and in the blink of an eye, it's another day. After waking up this morning, Chen Guohua took advantage of the dark sky and went out with 3 little ones. Brother, it's so cold. Chen Xiaoman, with sleepy eyes, held her big brother by the corner of his clothes and walked on her short legs, whispering softly. If you walk faster, it won't be cold anymore. Chen Xiaoye turned around and smiled, but her sister stuck out her tongue. From the moment I woke up, it was already extremely cold. The 4 siblings quickly arrived at Yongding River and began searching for yesterday's mark. The hole dug yesterday afternoon was frozen again. Peeling open the snow on top, I accidentally found several frozen fish in 2 of the holes. Great, it's a great start. Seeing this scene, Chen Xiaoye, 3 little brats, grinned foolishly and drooled with greed. The fish at the 2 openings were quickly dug out by Chen Guohua. There are a total of 7 pieces, about 2 pounds. This catch is enough. That is to say, the weather is getting too cold too quickly. The cave entrance quickly froze and isolated oxygen. Otherwise, the catch would be even greater. The bonfire was lit, and the iron nails were bent into fish hooks. Without bait, those who wish will take the bait. This season, all things are lonely, where does he go to find bait? Soon, when the sky was slightly brighter, the 4 siblings finally caught nearly 5 pounds of fish. At this point, it's time to go back and make breakfast. Without hesitation, Chen Guohua packed the catch with a dustpan and went home with his 3 younger sisters. Breakfast is no different from yesterday, there's no oil or water. After breakfast, the 4 siblings returned to Yongding River to catch fish again. As for the morning catch, just leave it at home. This weather doesn't matter how long it stays. Maybe it's luck. As soon as he returned to the Yongding River, Chen Guohua caught about 5 pounds of fish. The largest fish among them weighs over 2 pounds and is particularly large. Time passed quickly, half the morning had passed, and my stomach was growling with hunger. There's not much oil or water for breakfast, so of course I won't be hungry. And it's also very cold, and the campfire doesn't give much heat. It seems that luck has run out, and there hasn't been any catch in half an hour. So Chen Guohua prepared to grill a few small miscellaneous fish as snacks. Mainly not too many, and even small miscellaneous fish cannot be sold at a price. Let's add more meals. The 4 siblings are all very thin, they need to eat more. Big brother, have you all roasted? Chen Xiaoye was a bit happy, but also a bit reluctant. But Chen Xiaomei and Chen Xiaoman watched eagerly without daring to speak. These catches belonged to the eldest brother, so the eldest brother the final say how to deal with them. Well, it's hard to catch fish when you're hungry. Chen Guohua, who was dealing with the small fish, said helplessly. In his previous life, when playing with Luya, he never encountered such a dilemma. The wild animals and fish in the rivers around the capital are basically unable to escape the five-finger mountain of farmers. In Maple Leaf Country, the wild fishing resources are indeed surprising. The Odibuos who survive in the wilderness in Alaska are not survival at all, but camping. So, as long as the fishing resources are good, the Air Force is impossible. Quickly, about 1 pound of catch was processed clean. Bake it with salt. At this moment, Chen Xiaoye was inspecting the entrance of the cave. Suddenly discovered a big fish coming. "Big brother, there's a big fish." She didn't dare to shout too loudly, but she was very excited. The two younger sisters are about to run over and watch the excitement. Caught by Chen Guohua. "Look at the grilled fish, don't go over and scare the fish away." "Okay, big brother." Chen Guohua walked over gently. But before he reached the entrance of the cave, Chen Mazi appeared by the river. Shouting loudly and running wildly on the river surface. "Make a thumping sound. Guohua, how many fish have you caught here?" Chen Mazi is a lazy person who bullies the weak and fears the hard, and loves to take advantage of small things. No one in the village likes him. The best way to meet such a person is to stay away from them. So, hearing this news made Chen Guohua think it's not good. He ignored Chen Mazi. Quickly approaching Chen Xiaoye's side. Then reach out to the cave entrance and fish for the moon from the bottom of the sea. At the moment of entering the water, there is a piercing and cold feeling. Chen Guohua really wants to take his hand back. But he still held back, quickly caught the big fish, and then threw it out suddenly. Bang! A big grass carp weighing about 3 pounds is bouncing around on the river surface. Chen Xiaoye is overjoyed. Chen Mazi, who came from afar, was also shocked to see this scene. Did he really catch the fish? At this moment, Chen Guohua was covering his hand. Because it's too cold, he needs to keep his hands warm and dry. "Wow, big fish, those who see have a share." Surrounding the big grass carp, Chen Mazi shamelessly said. But suddenly offended Chen Xiaoye. "I saw the little one with his hands on his hips, blocking the big grass carp." Facing Chen Mazi, he bared his teeth and angrily said. "Stinky Mazi, this fish caught by my big brother doesn't belong to you." Not to mention a 3-pound grass carp, even a quail egg, Chen Xiaoye would still use her life to protect it. Not far away, Chen Xiaomei and Chen Xiaomen, two sisters, also scolded fiercely. "Without my share, wouldn't it be my share? Why are you so fierce?" Chen Mazi, whose face and ears were flushed with shouting, was also frightened. "I'm just joking with you guys. Let me see, okay? I won't let you see, humph." However, Chen Xiaoye did not allow the other party to approach. Angry and very cute. At this point, Chen Guohua had already stood up. "I lifted the big grass carp with ease. Xiaoye, let's go eat fish. Mazi, where's the coolest place to stay? We don't have time to talk to you." Chen Mazi in the village is a complete villain. Chen Guohua doesn't want to have too much contact with the other party. It's not that he's afraid of trouble, but he just wants to fill his stomach and live his life well. The two siblings returned to the place where the fire was being heated, and Mazi licked his face and followed over. "Wow, you had grilled fish before noon. You're so good at it, aren't you?" At this moment, Mazi is particularly good at chatting and has a sweet mouth. But it was no use. Chen Xiaoye's 3 sisters' white eyes and dislike greeted him. And Chen Guohua's disregard. Although the grilled fish is small and still has a fishy smell, the authentic aroma of fish and meat explodes on the lips, making it a delicious dish for the 4 siblings of Chen Guohua, who have no oil or water in their stomachs. Chen Guohua next to her drooled with greed. He kept saying flattery, but it was of no use. Although he is from the same village, Chen Guohua is not very good, and the villagers all dislike him. So Chen Xiaoya and the three of them kept munching on grilled fish, and didn't forget to roll their eyes at Mazi. Guohua, can you teach me how to catch fish at jokes.com? As Chen Guohua and his team were about to finish their fish, Mazi couldn't help it anymore. The grilled fish is gone, so I'll humbly ask for advice. Maybe he can catch fish too, can't he? He, didn't you see everything? Are you still using me to teach you? Chen Guohua looked up at the other person and sneered. The method of fishing in winter is already very simple. Chen Guohua has looked at several holes he chiseled out more than once. Perhaps it was Chen Guohua's gaze, too sharp. In an instant, Chen Er's pockmarks were shining brightly on his back. I feel like my whole body has been exposed by the other person. However, at this moment, Chen Xiaoya, who was already full, discovered another big fish while patrolling the entrance of the cave. Big brother, come over quickly. There's a big fish again, it's so big. A cry of surprise sounded, attracting everyone's attention. Mazi wanted to go over, but was grabbed by Chen Guohua. Mazi, if you dare to scare away my fish, I won't spare you. The greatest weakness of human nature. Hating you for having something, laughing at you for not having anything, hating you for being poor, and fearing you for being rich. Chen Guohua, who has lived for 2 lifetimes, certainly understands this truth. Chen Guohua, who was being pulled, had an unnatural smirk on his face and a pleasing look in his eyes. After watching Chen Guohua leave, Chen Guohua, who was angry in his heart, was thinking about how to retaliate and go back. In my line of sight, there appeared the 3-pound grass carp that had just been caught. While Chen Guohua was trying to fish out the big fish under the ice, he heard the startled voice of Chen Xiaomei's 2 sisters. Big brother, our fish was snatched away by Mazi, woo-woo. Chapter 6, Fighting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Schwa. Chen Guohua immediately looked angrily at the figure rushing towards the river. However, now is not the time to recover the big grass carp. But first catch the big green fish under the ice layer. The opening is not very large, it is the size of an ordinary large bowl opening. However, the big green fish beneath the ice layer is a giant weighing over 10 pounds. The slightly open bloodthirsty mouth breathes fresh air at the entrance of the cave. Chen Xiaoya next to her was extremely anxious. Big brother, what should I do? Why don't I go chase Chen Guohua? Don't chase after him, you can't beat him. Wait for me, soon. After dealing with his younger sister, Chen Guohua stared at the big green fish in front of him. Aiming for the right moment, he rolled up his sleeves and reached into the mouth of the big green fish bare-handed. Then he suddenly opened his fingers and grabbed the big green fish's mouth, lifting it up. As a result, the big green fish got stuck at the entrance of the cave. The diamond in icy water felt heartbroken, and with the sharp teeth of the big green fish, it directly tore open his skin. Under the double pain, Chen Guohua almost fainted from the pain. Bring the hoe over quickly. He quickly asked his sister to bring the hoe over. After taking the hoe with the other hand, he aimed it at the ice and struck it hard. A large green fish weighing over 10 pounds happened to come out of the cave entrance. Then he threw the big green fish onto the river and said to Chen Xiaoya. Sister, keep an eye on this big fish. I'll go chase Chen Guohua and come back soon. Wait for me. After speaking, he turned around and took big steps, running towards the riverbank. At this point, Chen Guohua had already disappeared. The Yongding River is not far from the village entrance at the foot of Qianling Mountain, and there are also some bare trees nearby. However, thank you for this light snow weather. No matter how fast Mazi runs, the footprints along the way cannot be avoided. Within 2 minutes of running, Chen Guohua saw the figure of Mazi. No one in the village is strolling outside, after all, the weather is too cold and everyone is baking at home. After seeing the figure of Mazi, Chen Guohua remained silent and ran even faster. However, Mazi quickly arrived at the village. Coincidentally, they bumped into Huang Shitong, who came out of the room, and they collided head-on. They all fell to the ground in pain, with stars in their eyes. The big grass carp also fell to the ground and was picked up by Chen Guohua, who followed closely behind. Huang Shitong, who was dizzy, had not yet realized it. I heard the painful cries of Mazi, and when I opened my eyes, I saw Chen Guohua punching. I hit someone, Chen Guohua hit someone. With Chen Mazi's voice, many villagers nearby ran out. Huang Shitong quickly stood up to persuade Chen Guohua to fight, but he couldn't pull him away. The latter is very thin, but their strength is not small. I had some grilled fish just now, and this morning it's full of energy. Chen Guohua, you want to kill someone. Stop it. As the accountant of the production team, Huang Shi holds a relatively high position in the village. Being embraced by Huang Shitong, Chen Guohua stopped boxing. He didn't hit the vital parts, and Mazi was also very thin. When hitting the opponent, Chen Guohua's fist also feels a lot of pain. Because hitting the opponent with a fist is like hitting a stone, can it not hurt? But it's definitely the other person who hurts more, and they deserve it. The villagers all gathered around to liven up and discuss. Guohua, how can you hit someone? Yeah, no matter what's wrong with Mazi, you can't hit anyone. Old Chen is such a kind and honest person, why haven't you learned anything about it? Chen Guohua glanced coldly at the villagers without making a sound. On the cold ground, Chen Mazi was still howling in pain. Oh my bone is broken and I killed someone. Huang Shitong quickly asked someone to go and take a look at the little Huatua Zhao Qiyuan in the village. Zhao Qiyuan is a well-known barefoot doctor, also known as Xiao Huatua. Medical skills cannot be said to be comparable to the divine physician Sai Huatua, it can only be said to be passable. If his medical skills were really excellent, he would have gone to the city long ago, where would he still stay at Qianling Mountain? Guohua, can you tell me why you hit someone? Taking advantage of this opportunity, Huang Shitong began to deal with the conflict between Chen Guohua and Mazi. Before Chen Guohua could speak up, Chen Mazi was the first to report the wrongdoer. That's the big grass carp I caught. Chen Guohua was jealous of me and scolded me by the river. I just had a few arguments with him, but because I couldn't get angry, he chased after me and wanted to hit me. Upon hearing Mazi's words, the villagers were in an uproar. Although Mazi is notorious for being lazy in the village. But they also have 2 older brothers and 1 older sister. And one of his older brothers, Chen Long, is still working as a worker in the city. On the other hand, Chen Guohua's adoptive father, Chen, has already disappeared. So, the villagers definitely don't want to offend Mazi. Huang Shitong's eyes flickered, and he also had the same idea. In the crowd, Li Shitong, who was at odds with Chen Guohua, began to mock and say. Guohua, we all know that the death of your foster father has a great impact on you, but you can't give up on yourself either. Why do you grab the grass carp caught by Mazi? And you also have to hit people, isn't that too much? Li Shitong and Chen Guohua are of the same age, but they have been at odds since childhood. When I was young, I fought a few fights due to a few minor frictions. Both of them had wins and losses, but as Chen Guohua grew taller, Li Shitong couldn't win. It is very embarrassing whether one can win a fight or not. So, whenever there is a chance, Li Shitong can't help but step on a few feet. What? Do you still want to hit me? Under the cold gaze of Chen Guohua, Li Shitong perfectly interpreted the phrase, don't do it, don't die. Still frantically probing Chen Guohua, challenging his bottom line. There are so many people here, do you dare to hit me? Come and hit me here. Seeing that Chen Guohua dared not take action, Li Shitong became even more proud. I'm not wrong. Guohua, if you did something wrong, you have to admit your mistake and accept the punishment. Bang! Chen Guohua, who could no longer bear it, punched out. Li Shitong, who stumbled and fell to the ground, screamed in pain. But soon, his cries of pain turned into pleading. Because Chen Guohua is riding on him, crazily attacking. I have never heard anyone make such a despicable request before. While vigorously punching, Chen Guohua loudly said. Since you like me to hit you so much, I'll reluctantly agree to your request. Li Shitong has fewer clothes on his body and feels more comfortable when fighting. Huang, like a villager, was shocked and quickly stepped forward to separate the two. However, Chen Guohua suddenly broke free from Huang, Shitong and others. Chen Guohua, how could you hit someone? Hitting someone is your fault. Upon hearing Huang Shitong's words, Chen Guohua refuted with reason and evidence. Just now you all heard that he asked me to hit him, and I fulfilled his request. He should be grateful to me, shouldn't he? This statement immediately choked Huang Shitong into silence. The other neighbors also didn't speak up, only Li Shitong and Chen Mazi, two difficult brothers, were howling in pain. Everyone knows that Chen Guohua has just lost his father and is young and energetic. I naturally dare not force myself too hastily, otherwise if something really happens, it will not be easy to end. Then you can't hit me either. Chen Mazi spoke up, and Chen Guohua glared and said, you stepped on the horse to grab my fish, and you still managed to deal with it, right? Damn it, it's clearly the fish I caught. These words immediately made Chen Guohua angry and laugh, the most humble person is invincible. Oh, how can you prove that you caught this fish? It's the fish I caught, what do I need to prove? Chen Mazi panicked and immediately retorted. How can you prove that you caught this fish? Not to mention, Mazi's words received unanimous approval from Huang Shitong and others. Chen Guohua looked around with cold eyes and said in a cold voice. This big grass carp was caught by my sister and I together, and I used a hoe to dig the hole in the river. Find Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, proof. Uncle Qian from the Supply and Marketing Cooperative also knows that I went to Yongding River to catch fish yesterday. My 3 younger sisters are still waiting in Yongding River. I also have fish caught this morning at home, as well as the wound on my arm. Is this not enough proof? Huang Shi and others immediately opened their mouths and stuttered. I also believe that this big grass carp was caught by Chen Guohua. Mazi came to snatch my fish and even turned the tables on me. Do you actually want to help Zhou become a tyrant? Aren't you afraid that my foster father will crawl out of the mine and talk to you? As soon as these words were spoken, Huang Shitong, Li Shitong, Chen Mazi, and others all felt a chill in their spine. A cold breath rushed straight from the soles of the feet towards the forehead. Tomorrow is old Chen's 7th day. What if Lao Chen knocks on the door tomorrow? Although my adoptive father has left, the old Chen family is not without a handlebar. In the future, if someone bullies our family in this Ma family tomb, don't blame me for punching too hard. After speaking, Chen Guohua picked up the big grass carp in the snow again. Then he kicked Chen Mazi again and spat in disgust. What kind of person are you, Chen Mazi? Do you think everyone doesn't know? You dare to steal things that others dare not steal, you dare to do things that others dare not do, bully the weak and fear the hard, be lazy, selfish, and look down on others. How could a lazy person go fishing in the river on such a cold day? Bah, you still want to rake it upside down. Dream it. A group of people watched helplessly as Chen Guohua left with a big grass carp in hand. No one dares to make a sound. However, when Chen Guohua returned to the Yongding River, he found Chen Xiaoya crying. Big brother, our big green fish was stolen by our cousin, Wu Wu. Chapter 7. Huang Shitong's Pleasure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A dozen pounds of big green fish, surprisingly taken by Chen Guohua. At this moment, Chen Guohua really wants to get angry. Is that Chen Guohua too shameless? Under the guise of credit, directly snatching fish. Are these relatives? You're still a cousin, not even bullshit. Taking a deep breath, Chen Guohua smiled and looked at the three little ones, saying, "Don't worry, let's take this big grass carp home first. I'll go to Uncle Air's house later to retrieve our big green carp. But, big brother, what if you come back?" Chen Xiaomin was still sobbing, looking very pitiful. "Don't say these discouraging words, we can definitely come back." Helping her wipe away her tears, Chen Guohua firmly said without a doubt. Then, he checked the openings again. It had already frozen, so he easily cleared those ice cubes before taking the three little ones home. After returning home, Chen Guohua put all the catch in the kitchen. "Xiaoya, let's stew this fish in soup at noon. I'll go to Uncle Air's house and get the big green fish back." "Okay, big brother, you need to pay attention to your safety and not fight with your cousin." Chen Xiaoya nodded. If it were yesterday, she would definitely not agree with her elder brother's words. Stew soup with 3 pounds of big grass carp. How luxurious this is. "Don't worry, I'm a scholar." Give San Shao only a reassuring look, and Chen Guohua turns around and leaves. His second uncle's house is not far away, but it's not close either. Let's walk for 3 minutes. When Chen Guohua walked to the door of his second uncle's house, he saw Chen Guohua showing off his war spoils to others. "Chen Guohua, you're really sorry. This is the fish I caught, not the fish you caught. It's okay to lie to your cousins before, but how dare you lie to me?" With a loud shout, Chen Guohua rushed forward and snatched the big green fish back. How could he not be angry when someone took away a horse treading, weighing over 10 pounds of big green fish? Chen Guohua didn't react at all, so he was suddenly lifted away by Chen Guohua and almost stumbled and fell. However, Chen Guohua's reaction was not slow, and he immediately swung his fist forward. Chen Guohua was already prepared for this and ran away without hesitation. For a moment, the door was a bit messy. However, Chen Guohua didn't run for long and immediately picked up a hoe and aimed it at Chen Guohua. "Chen Guohua, you still have reason to steal my big green fish, right? Do you still want to hit someone? Your family didn't cheat you out of work yesterday, so today they want to compensate with my big green fish, right?" Lu Zuoxiang and Chen Jiazhen looked at each other dumbfounded. Pointing at Chen Guohua, he said, "What are you talking nonsense about? This fish was picked up by my son, how could it be your fish?" Chen Guohua and Hu Guifan were holding their 8 or 9-month-old baby on the edge, staring intently. Chen Guohua's 3 younger sisters and 1 younger brother also looked curiously. The nearby neighbors, upon hearing the commotion, all came out of the house one after another. Standing nearby, his gaze turned to Chen Jiazhen's house, enjoying himself happily. Huang Shitong, who had just come from the village entrance, happened to see this scene and couldn't help but stop his steps. Seeing Chen Guohua being bullied by his uncle's family, I couldn't help but feel emotional. A child without a father, everyone wants to bully. Huang Shitong also knew about Chen Jiazhen. The latter has 5 children in his family, with his eldest son Chen Guohua already married and having children, and his grandson being 8 or 9 months old. The whole family is under a lot of pressure to eat, drink, and relax. Yesterday, Chen Jiazhen went to find Chen Guohua and his 4 siblings to work, and Huang Shitong also knew about it. Just now Chen Mazi was fighting for fish, and now Chen Guohua is fighting for fish again. It seems that everyone thinks that Chen Guohua and his 4 siblings can let others bully them. Just looking at the thin and small body confronting Chen Guohua, Huang Shitong suddenly spoke up. "What are you doing?" With his intervention, Chen Guohua seemed to feel like he was being rescued. "Uncle Tong, it's just right for you to come and give us a review. This is the big green fish I caught. Guohua came to grab my fish without distinction, and even turned the tables on it. It's too much to say that I stole his fish. All the villagers present were from Majiafen, and everyone knew that Huang Shitong was the accountant of the production team. He has a high status and many people are willing to give him face. So, the villagers watching with great interest watched this scene. Is that so? Huang Shitong walked over calmly and gestured for Chen Guohua to raise his wrist to show him. The unknown Chen Guohua frowned and said, "Uncle Tong, what are you looking at my wrist for?" However, Huang Shitong did not answer his question. Instead, he looked at Chen Guohua and smiled gently, saying, "Guohua, can you roll up your sleeves and show me your wrist?" The latter expressionlessly extended his wrist, revealing the wound inside. In fact, he already knew the other party's intention, that's why he cooperated so well. As expected, the next moment Huang Shitong said, "Guobing, you said this is the big green fish you caught. Where did you catch it? When did you catch it? What tools did you use to catch it?" Before Chen Guohua could answer, Huang Shitong continued. "Just now, Mazi stole Guohua's big grass carp and was beaten to death by Guohua. But I think we played well. Our production team doesn't need such scumbags. Whether it's the big grass carp or the big blue carp, they are all caught by the Chinese people. Take a look at the wound on Guohua's wrist, which is the scar left by catching fish with bare hands." I also asked Lao Qian from the Supply and Marketing Cooperative, and Lao Qian said that the Guohua fourth brother and sister went to see him yesterday morning. So, national soldier, you're lying when you say you caught this big green fish. Buzz. Chen Guohua looked at Huang Shitong incredulously, wondering why the latter was so supportive of Chen Guohua. The villagers have already started discussing. Zhaoshuyuan.com. After all, Huang Shitong's words are very reasonable, while Chen Guohua's expression already speaks for itself. Besides, his behavior is exactly the same as that of Erpak. If he is not Chen Guohua's cousin, he may be beaten to death just like Erpak. Nonsense, I caught this clearly. Looking at the big green fish in Chen Guohua's hand, Chen Guohua wanted to fight for it again. But the former suddenly interrupted. "Chen Guohua, today I finally recognized your true face. Yesterday I cheated on our family's job, and today I snatched our siblings' fish. Your family is really domineering. Don't be such a relative. I hereby formally inform you that from now on, I will sever ties with your family and no longer have any further dealings." After speaking, Chen Guohua thanked Huang Shitong and left with the big green fish. But Chen Jiazhen, Chen Guohua, Lu Zuixiang and their family were shocked. Huang Shitong's face was full of praise, but he sighed regretfully that Chen Guohua was too young and impulsive in his actions. Immediately, he looked at Chen Jiazhen and said, "Old Chen, Guohua is a high school student. After the spring festival, he will take the college entrance examination in July. Once he passes the examination, he will become a college student. You went to cheat their family's job yesterday, your vision was too short-sighted. In the future, Guohua will become a college student, and your family." Upon hearing these words, Chen Guohua couldn't help but sneer. If universities were so easy to take exams, the streets would be filled with college students. Huang Shitong shook his head and said, "Even if someone doesn't get into college, it will be much easier for them to enter the city and work in the future than you. Rotten wood cannot be carved out." Chapter 8, for yuan and 4 cents. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Chen Guohua returned home carrying the big green fish. The 3 younger sisters have already prepared lunch, which is not very white fish soup and looks quite tempting. "Big brother, you've come back, and the big green fish has also been brought back. That's great. Big brother, you didn't fight, did you?" Chen Xiaoya's 3 sisters were very happy to see their eldest brother back. They all came around him, caring about his body. With a smile on his face, he briefly explained the situation to his sisters, and Chen Guohua invited the 3 of them to eat first. After dinner, go to Yongding River again, then sell fish, and bring back the rooster and pork that were ordered yesterday. This fish soup is indeed very good, and the 4 siblings enjoyed it with relish. At noon that day, the news about Chen Guohua catching a big fish, as well as the story of Mazi and Chen Guobing grabbing fish, quickly spread throughout Ma's tomb and several nearby villages. In the lonely winter of all things, there was originally no joy to be had. In just one morning, surprisingly, so many new things came out. The Yongding River in the afternoon is particularly lively. Almost everyone from several nearby villages has come out. No one's cat in winter anymore, because Chen Guohua can catch more than 10 pounds of big green fish, there's no reason why he can't catch it himself. Can you really catch a fish by chiseling a hole? On the ice layer of the river, Dog Egg said with some skepticism. Mazi on the edge quickly repeated what he had already said several times. I can really catch fish. As I saw with my own eyes this morning, that old Chen dog really caught fish with his bare hands. When did Chen Guohua become so powerful? Thinking of passing by Chen Guohua's house just now and seeing their 4 siblings enjoying their delicious fish, Gooden couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Regardless of whether what Mazi said is right or not, just do it and it's done. Chen Guohua and his family have already eaten fish. However, the fish in the Yongding River are not foolish, how can they be so easy to catch? When Dog Dan, Mazi, and others carefully study catching fish. Chen Guohua, who had eaten, had already taken 3 oil bottles to a section of the upper reaches of the Yongding River. The hole that was previously drilled has frozen again. Nevertheless, they managed to catch around 15 or 16 pounds of fish. Unfortunately, there are no big fish left. After collecting the catch, the 4 siblings returned home, sorted out the previous catch and put it in a dustpan, carrying it to the supply and marketing cooperative. There is no scale at home, so Chen Guohua can only estimate that the catch should be around 30.40 pounds. After all, a big green fish weighs over 10 pounds, accounting for almost half of its weight. Selling fish. Walking on the country road, Chen Xiaomin smiled happily. Even though the temperature is below -10 degrees today, she cannot suppress her excitement. Xiaoye and Xiaomei, 2 sisters, were also very happy and followed their big brother, bouncing towards the supply and marketing cooperative. When passing by some villagers, some children also came over to watch the excitement. But soon he was called back by the adults. The villagers all heard about what happened this morning and sympathized with the plight of Chen Guohua's 4 siblings. But after all, Chen Guohua is only a high school student. He is too young and may not consider the consequences when doing things, so he is not steady. So, it's better not to get too close to Chen Guohua and his 4 siblings. However, several villagers also approached Chen Guohua and his 4 siblings. Follow along all the way to the supply and marketing cooperative, while inquiring about work. As noon approached, Chen Guohua announced that he would sever ties with his second uncle's family and no longer have any further dealings. This means that Chen Guobing will no longer be able to get the job of Lao Chen. If that's the case, then the other villagers of Majiafen may have been involved in old Chen's work. As a high school student, Chen Guohua is unlikely to be so foolish as to simply seal up his job. After all, he will be taking the college entrance examination in July next year. Regardless of whether he can pass the exam or not, Chen Guohua's own work problems are easily solved. On the contrary, Chen Xiaoye is only 13 years old this year. It will be 3 years since she started working after she turned 16. If the work is sealed for 3 years, then the lives of their 4 siblings will definitely be relatively difficult during these 3 years. At the entrance of the supply and marketing cooperative, Chen Guohua kept smiling and didn't let go. He already knows who the work will be given to. These people in front of him are not his target at all. Therefore, no matter how these people flatter and please their 4 siblings, it's useless. Uncle Qian, we're here to sell fish. Also, could you please take the rooster and pork we ordered yesterday? From afar, Qian Dongsheng had already seen Chen Guohua and the others. At this moment, he crouched down with a smile and examined the fish in the dustpan. Oh, I heard everyone say at noon that your 4 siblings caught a lot of fish. I'm afraid they weigh 30 or 40 pounds, right? Very impressive, Guohua. He has a smart mind and flexible hands and feet. Not bad, he's much stronger than that stinky kid at home. Qian Dongsheng praised a few words, then turned around and took out a scale from inside. Chen Guohua has not seen such a pole scale for a long time. The electronic scale was the one I used the most in my previous life. Because after getting married, my weight skyrocketed, and I had to weigh myself before and after meals every day, as well as before and after exercise. Just the weight is still going up all the way. It wasn't until later, after participating in activities such as luyas and marathons, that my weight began to slowly decline and maintain a certain level. The catch was not very high, but Chen Guohua still carried it with Qian Dongsheng. In this way, weighing will be more convenient. Chen Xiaoya's 3 sisters all stared, especially Chen Xiaoman's short legs. Relying on her second sister, she tiptoed up and tried hard to look at the scale. Unfortunately, she is too short to see. The weight of the catch was quickly displayed on the scale. The total weight is 37 pounds. Zhaoshuyuan.com. The current purchase price for fish is 1.2 cents. The price is very low, but for the 4 siblings of Chen Guohua, this is already a surprise. If it's 37 pounds, I should give it to you. Qian Dongsheng is still calculating how much money, and Chen Guohua has already smiled and said, Uncle Qian, the total is 4.44 yuan. Is it really fake? Qian Dongsheng looked at Chen Guohua in surprise, and the other villagers also had a surprised expression. But soon, Qian Dongsheng calculated the price himself. According to the purchase price of 1.2 cents, the catch of 37 pounds is a total of 4.44 cents. Hey, you really deserve to be a high school student. Are you too strong in calculation? At this moment, Qian Dongsheng looked even more surprised at Chen Guohua's gaze. The latter smiled humbly and then helped put the fish in the dustpan into the fishing net pocket. And Chen Xiaoya, 3 little ones, had already jumped happily. They are just a day's harvest, and surprisingly have an income of 4.44 yuan. At this moment, they are very excited. Especially when Qian Dongsheng handed the money to their elder brother, they were even happier. Thank you, Uncle Qian. Chen Guohua took the money with a smile and heard the other party say with a smile. Count again, don't wait and tell me the money is low. I know Uncle Qian, the amount is correct, that's right. He immediately counted it again without being shy or flattering the other person's words. Money really needs to be counted in person. Then, Qian Dongsheng handed him the rooster and pork. After thanking him, he took his 3 sisters home. Chapter 9, Speaking of Numbers. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The winter sunset comes quickly. The villagers on the Yongding River are gradually becoming scarce. Not everyone can withstand loneliness and withstand temperatures below -10 degrees Celsius. However, when Chen Guohua sold his catch for 4.44 yuan in a morning, the Yongding River boiled again. A lot of people came, but in less than an hour, there were once again many fewer people. As night fell, Chen Guohua carried a kerosene lamp and brought Chen Xiaoya to the Yongding River together. Brother, can we really catch fish at this time? The weather is very cold, and Chen Guohua can only come up with this plan. In the afternoon, the 4 siblings were on their way home. Chen Xiaoya said she still wants to continue catching fish. When they saw many villagers on the Yongding River, they immediately retreated. So I went home to have dinner and prepared the offerings for the first 7 of the next day. At this time of the night, everyone fell asleep and came back to kill. You can definitely catch fish, believe me. Chen Guohua said with great certainty. He is willing to bring his sister over to catch fish at this time. I just want to earn more before he goes to school. Lest Chen Xiaoya and the others come to the river to catch fish on their own after he goes to school. If something unexpected happens, he will definitely regret it to death. At the same time, I also took this opportunity to tell Chen Xiaoya that fishing requires skills, but more importantly, timing, and not blindly following. Soon, the two siblings arrived at the Yongding River and began searching for the holes that had been smashed through. Today is a day, except for Chen Guohua and his siblings who smashed holes. There are also holes smashed by other villagers. Many openings may not have fish immediately, or even may not have fish at all. But at this point in time, if there is a fish hole, it is designated to be frozen. But the ice is not very thick and can be easily smashed through. Under the illumination of kerosene lamps, Chen Guohua and his two siblings searched for several openings and finally found the fish. Big brother, there are really fish. Chen Xiaoya pointed excitedly at the entrance of the cave. You're so amazing, why are you here at this time when there's fish? Because after the hole was smashed open, it was not easy for those fish to find the hole. After a few simple words, Chen Guohua had already started to break open the broken ice and catch the fish. Just throw the frozen fish directly into the dustpan. Over the next hour, the two siblings had already traveled many places. As he walked, Chen Guohua imparted some knowledge to his sister. For example, at this time, the riverbank may seem very safe, but in fact, it is not at all safe. If you accidentally fall into the cave entrance, or even into the river, it is easy to have accidents. Therefore, walking on the river requires great caution. As it was approaching 11 o'clock, the two siblings only left the Yongding River carrying over 40 pounds of catch. Xiaomei and Xiaomin at home have already fallen asleep. There was nothing to say overnight. The next day, Chen Guohua was awakened by two younger sisters. Brother, you and second sister are so amazing. They caught so many fish again last night. The sky outside had already slightly brightened up, and Chen Guohua hugged his two younger sisters into his arms. The two little ones suddenly looked like quails, too shy to speak. Do you dare to catch your big brother again? Chen Guohua wrapped their thin bodies in blankets and said fiercely. They immediately shook their heads and their pretty faces turned red. It is obvious that they have rarely been so close to their elder brother before. At this moment, the sound of Chen Xiaoya shouting to eat came from outside. The two younger sisters suddenly struggled to get up and ran out at full speed. Looking at their backs, Chen Guohua immediately smiled. Oh, two little girls. After breakfast, Chen Guohua and his four siblings once again carried the catch from last night and went to the supply and marketing cooperative to sell fish. The villagers who had just woken up were shocked to see this scene. When did you catch the fish? At the entrance of the supply and marketing cooperative, when Qian Dongxing saw Chen Guohua's four siblings, he opened his mouth wide and couldn't speak for a while. He praised Chen Guohua and the others several times in a row. I also want to ask Chen Guohua when they caught the fish. As a result, Chen Guohua did not say anything, he just asked Qian Dongxing to hurry up and weigh. As for Chen Xiaoya and the three little ones, they had also been warned by their elder brother a long time ago, so naturally they would not leak any information. The catch is similar to yesterday, weighing 39 pounds. The total is 468 yuan. There is also a big fish weighing about 2 pounds left at home. It is a sacrifice that will be used to pay homage to old Chen later. At this festival, pork, chicken, and fish are all ready and very good. After receiving the money, Chen Guohua and his four siblings went home happily. Today is Lao Chen's 7th day, which should have been a very sad day. But the four siblings were not very sad. In just 2 days, the four siblings have earned 9 yuan, and Chen Xiaoya and the three of them are full of hope for the future. In the morning, all the sacrifices at home have been prepared and we are ready to go to the Iguan tomb to pay homage to old Chen. There's nothing to say about the entire process, it's just that San Xiao only shed tears. On the other hand, Chen Guohua remained expressionless, but couldn't tell that he was too sad. But none of the three kids found it. When they returned home, two people had already arrived at the doorstep. Guohua, you're back. The person who came was a father and son, and the old man who spoke was Han Yuzhen, a relatively powerful figure from the Ma family tomb. Uncle Zhen, you're here. I'm sorry, we just went out. Chen Guohua smiled faintly. Xiaoye, go find Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com to get a bowl and pour water for Uncle Zhen and Brother Su. There is no tea in rural areas, but the way to treat guests must be there, and a bowl of water is still available. Han Yuzhen has 3 brothers, and he has given birth to 8 children of his own, including 7 sons. During the land reform, their family received the most land. During the first 5-year plan, Han Yuzhen and his 2 sons also became minors. Therefore, the Han family became the tomb of the Ma family, and even the entire production team, the last family to provoke. And Han Yuzhen is the person Chen Guohua needs to wait for. After being polite to Han Yuzhen, Chen Guohua sat down and chatted with him. Rural people don't have so many flower bellies. Not long after sitting down, Han Yuzhen immediately got straight to the point. Guohua, we also know that old Chen left suddenly. I know you also told your second uncle to seal this job. After some preparation, Han Yuzhen expressed his desire for the job of Lao Chen. His son Han Jice next to him was as silent as wood. After being kicked by his father, he hesitated a few words in a daze. Chen Guohua smiled and listened, but it was just a matter of agreement. There is nothing substantial to say. Seeing Chen Guohua like this, Han Yuzhen cursed inwardly and said with a sly smile on his face. Guohua, you see, transferring your job is the best way. With money in your hands, your 4 siblings' lives will no longer be so restricted, and it will be convenient for Xiaoye to find a job when she reaches adulthood. Why don't you give me a number, okay? Chapter 10, Little Fox. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Of course, it's not possible to just say the number. Trading job opportunities is not that simple. In the past year or two, due to the policy of unified purchase and sales, the top is cracking down on speculation. If caught face-to-face, it will be difficult to do. Of course, it's just Han Yuzhen and Han Jice's father and son present at the scene now. Therefore, Chen Guohua is not very worried about these. The reason why he didn't speak in a hurry was naturally because he wanted to take Zhou. Can those who are in a hurry be called buyers and sellers? Anyway, he's not in a hurry. Uncle Zhen, you may not know. My sister and I went to the supply and marketing cooperative again just now to sell fish. As soon as he finished speaking, Chen Xiaoman beside him couldn't help but chuckle. We sold it for 4.68 cents again, including yesterday's 4.44 cents, for a total of 9.12 cents. Xiaoman. Chen Guohua smiled and softly reprimanded. The little one pouted and stared at her big brother. Uncle Zhen, I'm sorry, my sister is not very polite. But my sister was not wrong either, so our 4 siblings actually don't lack money or anything else. The meaning of this polite refusal is already very obvious. Han Yuzhen is not someone who eats dry rice, of course he understands what Chen Guohua means. While secretly cursing in his heart, he couldn't help but praise Chen Guohua's 4 siblings in amazement on the surface. Then we can return to the previous topic. This time, he didn't wait for Chen Guohua to speak up and directly took out 300 yuan. Guohua, here is 300 yuan. If your 4 siblings agree, this money will be yours. And regarding the issue of job transfer, you don't need to handle it. You just need to nod and leave the rest to us. How's it going? Han Yuzhen also made a profit by using psychological tactics. 60 large, united and neatly arranged pieces together give a strong visual impact. Since 1955, the country has issued the second set of RMB. The maximum face value of the second set of banknotes is 10 yuan, but this thing was only issued in December last year and has not yet spread widely. This Great Unity is a $5 denomination paper currency. That is to say, the Great Unity of various ethnic groups, which began to be issued in May, with sauce purple and orange-yellow as the main colors, is commonly known as the Great Unity. However, it was not until the issuance of the third set of RMB in 1966 that the 10 yuan denomination paper currency was widely accepted as the Great Unity. On this day in 1958, the so-called Great Unity is still the second edition of the 5 yuan RMB. After all, the Big Black 10 has only been released for over a month. Chen Guohua and her three sisters, when they saw the money, breathed quickly. The visual impact brought by 60 banknotes is still very significant. However, Chen Guohua smiled slightly and said, "Uncle Jen, come and drink water." After speaking, he took a sip himself and then lowered his head to play with the large porcelain bowl. It seems that the large porcelain bowl in his hand is as precious as an antique, making him unable to put it down. But this big porcelain bowl was bought from the supply and marketing cooperative, a few cents each, very cheap. I saw that Chen Guohua was not completely shocked by the 300 yuan in front of him. Han Yuzhen was completely stunned. Are there anyone who doesn't like money these days? Didn't you see Chen Guohua and the three of them staring intently at the 300 yuan? It's strange. It seems that Chen Guohua, this little fox, doesn't think he has enough money. Thinking of this, Han Yogen's head suddenly became as big as a fight. Although spending 300 yuan on a job opportunity is not a lot of money. Even very, very few. However, the job in Chen Guohua's hands was like a chicken rib for their four siblings. You should know that Chen Guohua, as the only one with the potential to become a miner, is actually a high school student. As a high school student, there is no shortage of job opportunities. As long as graduation is successful, the government generally arranges jobs. Although the job may not be directly assigned to cadre positions like college students, a regular job is still not a problem. As for Chen Guohua, their three sisters are all girls. I haven't seen many female miners on this side of Mentugu. Therefore, Han Yuzhen believes that it should not be a problem for him to spend 300 yuan to get this job. As a result, I didn't expect that he had already been pinched by Chen Guohua. What should I do? Either increase the price or withdraw. There are not many people in Ma Jiafen who have the ability to secure this job. However, there are still several companies in the entire production team. Chen Guohua, this kid, shouldn't he want to see what other people offer before making a move? In an instant, Han Yuzhen thought of these again. Or are you saying that your bid is too low? Someone has already offered a higher price. He thought wildly for a while, but saw that Chen Guohua was still calm and composed. I can't help but admire you so much. Although old Chen has left, Chen Guohua has already developed the characteristics of a mature man. Oh no. Old Chen has adopted a good son. Just as Han Yuzhen was about to speak, someone came to the door again. It's Guo Jisheng, Fang Chunmei, and others from the neighboring village, all of whom are relatively powerful people nearby. Seeing Guo Jisheng and others, Han Yogen's face immediately turned ugly. Come uninvited. However, he could only watch as Chen Guohua warmly welcomed these people. Han Yuzhen did not leave and watched coldly with his son Han Jice. Despite this, if everyone bids together, it is very likely that Chen Guohua will be cheaper. But if everyone quotes separately, they are more likely to be eliminated by themselves. No way, Han Yuzhen has already confirmed that Chen Guohua is the little fox. Guo Jisheng and others, who had just sat down for a while, quickly got to the main topic after chatting with the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Sure enough, their goal was the job held by Chen Guohua and his four siblings. And Guo Jisheng and his team also saw the 300 yuan that Han Yuzhen took out. Therefore, when quoting, Fang Chunmei started directly from 400 yuan. A miner's job, with a first-year salary of only 14 yuan, not much. But starting from the second year, it's at least 20.8 yuan. So, generally speaking, giving 1,000 is not too much, and giving 800 is not too little. Not long after the bidding, the price quickly skyrocketed to 750 yuan. Throughout the entire process, it was only Han Yuzhen and his team who were quoting and bidding. But Chen Guohua just smiled and listened, without expressing any opinions. As noon approached, Chen Guohua instructed his sister to cook. At this moment, Han Yuzhen and his team realized that it seemed like Chen Guohua had never made a sound. Guohua, can you give everyone a definite message? Guo Jisheng spoke up and said something. Chen Guohua smiled and said. Uncle Sheng, how can I give you a certain level of confidence? They haven't even lost money at the mine yet. I can't say for sure about this job. Damn it, it's reliable. He won't fall for it. Han Yogan's mouth twitched. Chen Guohua, this little fox, is so skilled. Playing around with everyone. At this moment, Chen Jiazhen and his family arrived at the door again. Guo Jisheng, Fang Chunmei, Han Yuzhen. What are you doing at my big brother's house? Are you trying to steal his job? I tell you. Impossible. P.S. Seeking follow. Up reading.